One. Okay, so we are now recording. And that's fantastic. And if people join us later, that's totally fine. I am going to put in the chat for you a link to the slideshow in case anyone wants to have it up on their own computer, if that's more comfortable for your eyes. And then the links in there are clickable. I'm going to send the whole slideshow to everyone again later in the presentation tonight so that you have all of the links to everything we talk about. But if you want to look at it now on your own computer, you can, and I'm about to share it anyway. So this way you have all the options covered. So I am now going to share my screen and we are going to take a look at this slideshow together. Okay. So Nancy, I can see you. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the slideshow? Excellent, great. Okay, I will not necessarily be able to see your comments in the chat as I'm talking. So if there's anything urgent, like if you can't hear me or something really urgent comes up, just unmute yourselves and say something. So this is my information at the bottom, but you probably all have this anyway because I've emailed everyone a zillion times. So quick intro to the Delta Tunnel Project. So today we had more people RSVPing than ever before, so I suspect there might be people on this presentation that have not seen any of our panels before, possibly people who've never even heard about the Delta Tunnel Project and just wanted to know a little bit more. So this first link I have for you here is from Sierra Club's website, and it's got our white papers, our fact sheets, and the links to the previous panel discussions. Really everything you need to know from our perspective there is right here at this link, and it's clickable. So you are able to click on that from the slides I shared with you in the chat. This is Restore the Delta's website and their section on the Delta Tunnel. They have really been the nonprofit at the forefront of this issue. They guide a lot of what we do because Barbara Berrigan-Perea there, she's brilliant and she really knows what she's doing. So she guides a lot of the work that Sierra Club does because she's really she's critical to this. So if you have hopped on and you've never heard about this issue before, or you want to just talk about it in more detail, you can schedule a quick one-on-one with me, or if you've got a club or some friends that are interested, I can meet with all of you. And this is my email address here. So just shoot me an email and say, Katie, I just want to know more. Can we talk for a little while? And I'm happy to meet with anyone and everyone through Zoom or on the phone if you don't like Zoom, or really any video chat service, so we can talk about it. So to give you just the most basic nutshell version of the Delta Tunnel Project, this has been going on in some version since the 1930s. I was saying the 1940s with the Peripheral Canal Plan, but Jeff Keitlinger himself, the general manager who loves the tunnel at Metropolitan Water District, he said it's actually been going on since the California Master Water Plan in the 1930s. So they've been, the state already takes water from the north region, the Delta region, which is where San Joaquin River meets Sacramento River, around Sacramento, Stockton, San Francisco Bay Area. That's the Delta region that I'm referring to. The water over there that estuary is the biggest estuary on the west coast of North America and home to a number of really critical wildlife. It's part of the Pacific Flyway. The salmon that live there, they start out there, they end up in the Pacific Ocean on the north coast. They feed marine mammals, including whales, all kinds of beautiful whales there, and they're a huge part of the fishing industry. It's a really critical region for wildlife, for the environment, for the people in the Delta and their industries that rely on that for farming and boating. And then it's also huge to the indigenous people of the North Coast, including the Winnemem-Wintu and Miwok and Yurok tribes. So it's a huge issue, huge area, important to so many people. And we already take water from there through the State Water Project that comes down through the Central Valley and then down to Southern California. But the tunnel project would take even more water. And do we need that water? No. Demand has gone down in recent years in Southern California. And is it a reliable source of water? No. with climate change. Snowmelt is declining, so it's not necessarily a critical. I'm sorry, is someone trying to talk? Okay. If everyone can just mute themselves if you're not trying to speak, then we won't get any feedback issues. So great. Okay. So it's, the folks building the tunnel will say that it's critical that we have the tunnel to get the water down to Southern California and Central Valley ag areas, but it's not critical. The water's in decline, and this isn't going to be a steady supply of water to them anyway. But it's a project they're moving forward with, and we're doing everything we can to stop it from happening. The reduced water flow will have a huge effect on the wildlife and the environment, and really just the ability to flush out all of the toxic chemicals from agriculture in the area, and then the amount of water there is needed for all kinds of fish and wildlife to survive. So if you want to learn more about all of the harmful um, effects of this tunnel, you can click these links or meet with me if you want to learn more about the history of it, everything else that's at these links. So now let's talk about the previous panels. So these are all clickable links so that you can see the panels that we've had prior to this. I see some faces have been here through all 5 panels, and that's fantastic. That's really awesome. But if you haven't, you can click here to learn all about the Delta Tunnel. It's a lot of me talking, but I try to be funny. I try. And then in the second panel, we hear from a bunch of experts about the impact on communities. So things like flood surges, air quality. Stockton already has some of the worst air quality in the country, and the construction is really going to make it worse. We hear about water quality and noise, truck trips, construction, a lot of things in this one from experts in the Stockton and Delta area. Then in this one, panel 3, we hear about the impact on wildlife, particularly the birds and the fish that are endangered. These are animals and, an entire region that is protected by law, but somehow they're getting around these laws that are meant to protect them. And it's really quite concerning. So if you click this link, you can hear all about the wildlife from experts. This one's kind of science heavy, and it's really interesting. And then maybe my favorite is panel 4, the one we just had, which is the impact of the Delta Tunnel on Indigenous communities. So we have the chief of the Winnemem Wintu tribe, Kayleen Sisk, and we have other folks talking about the impact on Indigenous communities, how they've been left out of this process for the most part, how it's going to affect their way of life, their fishing industry, and their perspective on it as a whole. That's a lot bigger. And it's really, that might be one of the most painful things about this, that the people most impacted and who've been protecting the region for thousands of years, they don't really have much of a voice in this, and it's frustrating. So if you have ideas for other Delta panel topics, it's been requested that we do one on the Chinese community and immigrants who live in the Delta region, because there is a large Chinese immigrant community there. Happy to do one about that in the spring. If there are other things you want to learn more about, I'll bring in some experts and we will talk about other issues, impacts on the Delta tunnel that the Delta tunnel will impact, or anything else you really want to talk about. So type them in the comments in the chat box here right now, and I'll take a look later. And then we have time to talk about them at the end of this, and we can have a nice little discussion on that. So other votes. So tonight we're primarily going to talk about the vote on December 8th with the Metropolitan Water District. However, there were a bunch of other water districts you can see here that already voted or will vote soon on if they want to participate in the Delta conveyance. For the most part, we had our butt kicked across the state. Most of these districts voted to participate in the Delta Tunnel planning and funding. I think the only one so far that has not is Kern County's municipal agency, but they're such a tiny percentage, so that they actually break it up into their ag and their municipal. The municipal is such a small part, and their ag is supporting it. So unfortunately, a lot of water districts around the state are on board. We had plenty of people calling in, writing in. Sierra Club sent a letter to every single water district. we had 40 to 45 people call or write into about every single one of these. So some of the comments from board members were pretty ugly, and maybe that was always their intent to just move forward with this. But some of them, I think that they had the wrong understanding of the tunnel, and the lobbying for this tunnel has been very strong. They've put a lot of money and energy into making this happen, and some board members have the belief that this is a good thing for the environment, and that's really just not the case. So, we're up against a battle, and that's why what we're going to talk about tonight with Metropolitan is so important. So, before I get to Metropolitan, there are a few votes left. There's the Antelope Valley, or I'll move our faces. There's the Antelope Valley East Kern Water Agency. They are coming up on the 24th, which is actually tomorrow. They have not been very transparent about how anyone can access that, but this is a link here and you can contact them. Coachella canceled their upcoming meeting right now, but I'm sure it'll be rescheduled sometime soon, and they do have to post that for the public. And then Crestline, they rescheduled theirs from December 3rd to December 10th, which will actually be after the Metropolitan Water District. But the reason we're focusing tonight on the Metropolitan Water District and why we've been working so hard with them for the last few months is that they have the biggest share of the payment for the tunnel. So we have the way that they fund this is by breaking it down into components. So and it's not even by the amount of water they get necessarily. What if you hear them talking about table A at some point, which is a minute detail, but if you do, table A is the amount of water they're getting. However, their share and percentages don't directly match that. Their share and percentages are how much they're willing to fund it. And right now, my guesstimate is that Metropolitan will pay for about 60%. It was up to 65, but Kern agreed to pay for more. So they're going to be paying probably 60% of this tunnel. And the Department of Water Resources, the department that reached out to all of these water districts, they have said that if Metropolitan does not agree to pay for this portion of the tunnel, then the tunnel will die. So if we can get Metropolitan to vote no, then this tunnel will be dead in the water. Get it? Water. But it's a really close race right now. I've counted up the votes for every board member, and we're about one or two away from winning this thing. So we really need to go all in, get as many voices out there saying, hey, you've got to vote against this thing. And I actually think it's absolutely possible. A lot of board members do not support this tunnel, especially some of the bigger cities, fortunately. We just need to be that muscle to make it easier for everyone to vote against this tunnel, and we need to convince them that that's absolutely necessary. So the big vote for Metropolitan Water District. These are all clickable links. So mark your calendar, save the date, put it on your calendar. Tuesday, December 8th is the big one for the Board of Directors meeting. This is the one we're trying to get out to the public. But if you're on this call, it means you probably care about the Delta Tunnel a little more than the average person. So I will invite all of you to join us for the Monday, December 7th vote in the Bay Delta Committee. This isn't one that we're going to widely publicize because we don't want people to be confused. There are indeed two meetings and two separate votes. So the way this works is that the vote comes as a recommendation from Metropolitan Water District staff. And just to catch you up, if you haven't heard us talking about Metropolitan Water District before, they are the largest water wholesaler agency in the state. They have 26 cities and about 19 million customers or residents in Southern California. They're the region from about right below Ventura County down to San Diego, and then east into San Bernardino and Riverside counties. So in this region, as the biggest, that's why they have the biggest percentage of this tunnel's responsibility. Their staff will recommend if they participate or not in the tunnel, and they will recommend to participate. That will come in a letter sent to the Bay Delta Committee. That will go to that committee at 12 p.m. and they will take a vote on if they want to move it forward to the next day to the Board of Directors. So this committee goes to the bigger board meeting. Chances are very good that they will probably say yes to moving it from the committee to the board of directors. If the folks on this call right now are able to call in and kill it, that's fantastic. But I'm going to assume that the vote will probably make it to the board of directors meeting. So if everyone can get on here, that's great, but we are going to try to push for the public at large to join the board of directors meeting the next day at 12 p.m. So if you click this link, it will take you to the website where you can listen and watch and call. But you have these links here if you want to see them. Here is a map to see if you live in Met Service area. I think that this is one of the rare times, though, that this project affects almost the entire, well, pretty much the entire state of California, even other states in the West as well. So because of that, I think that even if you don't live in Met Service area, it will affect you in your life. And I think that people have the right to call in and say, hey, I live in the Delta, this will affect me. I live in the Bay Area, this will affect me. I live in the Central Valley agricultural regions, this affects me. I live in the North, this affects me. I think that this is one of the times that it's okay to do that, but they will probably listen a little more closely to people who live in Met Service area. So if you do live in Met Service area, click here on this map, see where you are, and then you can also click this link to see who the board member is that represents your area. And then you can click here to contact them to tell them that you live in their district and you want them to vote against the tunnel. If you have trouble with any of that, just email me, call me, text me, and I'll help you figure out who your board member is. Not a problem. Then for everyone calling in, this will be the phone number at 12 o'clock, both on the 7th and the 8th. You'll call this phone number, you type in this code, and then you're going to be placed into a queue. So what that means is you can watch it on the website, which these links will link to. There's nothing really to see there. You can see the slideshows, but you can't see the people. So you can hear them on the website or you can hear them on the phone line. So when you call in, they'll ask you to mute yourself. If you're calling from a landline, that just means, try to be quiet because everyone is using the same phone line and they can hear you. So they will call out your area code and the last 4 digits of your phone number. That means it's your turn to talk. You get 3 minutes to say what you want to say. I will be sending you talking points, so you don't even have to think. You can just read off the paper, or if you do have something personal you want to say, that's absolutely the time to say it. And then after your turn, the next person will go. So you want to keep yourself muted because, a lot of people are going to have the opportunity to talk. You might get a little frustrated waiting if we can get a good 100 people on there trying to talk, but it is absolutely important that the more people who give a comment, the more likely they are to take us seriously. So, it might be tough, but hang in there and just remember that the people on the line there are right there with you. We all want to kill this thing. So this is really the big push. This is the big vote. This is the vote that will be able to kill the tunnel right now for years to come, hopefully, if they ever give up on this thing. This could be the vote to do it. If not, then we'll have to re-strategize and look at other ways to take it down. But this is potentially the day and the moment that we could kill this thing. So, a social media kit. I will be emailing all of you at the end of this presentation, as well as with these slides, a social media kit that we have directed at Metropolitan. It has tweets in it, so you don't have to think of anything creative yourself. You can just copy paste the tweets right into your Twitter, and then we've got the contacts of everyone you need to comment to tweet at, so you can tweet at these people. We've got comments that you can just copy paste right onto their Facebook page. Or of course, you can always be creative and say things that you want to say yourself. That's fantastic if you do. We have memes, we have infographics, we have really everything you need to send your message very clearly to Metropolitan from a lot of different angles. Mark your calendars. On December 3rd, we're going to have a tweetathon. So, and you'll see in a few slides, we have tweets that we would like you to send. They're in the social media kit, or you can come up with your own, and we're just going to try to get a lot of people to tweet at them that one particular day. That's the Thursday right before the vote. So we're going to tweet them and just make it very clear on Twitter, hey, you've got to stop this tunnel. Then the next day, December 4th, we're going to flood Met's Facebook page with comments. So you can copy paste the comments we have, or you can write your own, but all over their Facebook page, we're going to have a concentrated effort for everyone to be commenting together at the same time. And when we have that show of strength together, I think that'll be really impactful. Then this is the beauty that you hopefully got today, an email link to send emails directly to the Metropolitan Board of Directors. So if you click this link, and we'll talk more about this in a minute, if you click this link, that will take you to our website where all you have to do is fill in your name and it will send an email for you. And then there's a space for you to add your own message on top of ours, which is absolutely more impactful if you can do that. If you can share why it means something to you, this will go to every member of the board of directors. And we'd love for them to see everything we have to say about this tunnel. So I'm going to ask you not to share the social media kit itself widely, because we don't want it to get into the wrong hands. You know, if the pro tunnel folks, and there's a lot of them in labor unions and other groups, if those folks get a hold of this, then they might be able to do their own counter and do exactly what we're doing, but the opposite. So then they might say, okay, December 3rd, then we're going to do a tweetathon. December 4th, we'll flood Facebook comments. So that's why we don't want the social media kit itself to get out there, but we want you to share the contents of it. So when you get in the social media kit, the comments you see, put them on Facebook. The memes, put them on Facebook. Tweet those memes, tweet those infographics, but don't share the social media kit itself. I hope that's clear. If not, we can talk about that again in a minute. The email link, we want you to share that one widely. We want hundreds, if not thousands, of emails to go to Met to say, hey, nobody wants this tunnel. You've got to stop the tunnel. So we can talk more about that if that's not clear. The next general manager. It almost seems off topic, but it's not. It's another angle we have in trying to control this tunnel situation. So the current general manager of Metropolitan Water District, Jeff Keitlinger, he's on his way out. He retires in March, and they're in the process of finding his replacement. And we fought really hard to get them to take some public outreach into consideration. They just had 2 public outreach meetings, which really, they didn't give us quite the format that we hoped for, but we still have this survey. This survey is over on this Wednesday, November 25th. They only put this survey out for a few days. It's, frustrating, but here we are. So it would be really helpful if everyone on this call can take this survey and share it with your friends and family, and then tell them to take this survey, and then put in there that you want the next general manager to be committed to water sustainability, equity, affordability, and environmental justice, and really anything else you want to see. They've got a history of sexual harassment and retaliation issues. That's something you can comment on, whatever it is that's important to you. But we want to make sure this next person is committed to water sustainability. So someone that ideally will oppose the Delta tunnels and concentrate more on local, regional water recycling programs. So this survey is just one more way to kind of shape the future of Metropolitan, get them off of imported water, get them interested in regional water recycling. And that's really important. So take this survey if you can, and we can discuss that as well. So if you are someone who really, this is an important issue to you, there are ways you can go the extra mile. I think it's probably easier if you and I talk individually on ways to really kind of make this your own. But it would be great if you can write an op-ed. And that's why I don't want to just send out a template to everyone. We want these op-eds to be individual, to have specific points from your perspective, your own perspectives in your own towns. Every region of California is going to be impacted by this differently. If you're down in San Diego, you're going to pay a lot of money for this water because it has to travel the furthest. So people in San Diego will pay more money for Delta Tunnel water than anyone. If you live way north and you're part of a tribe in Winnemucca region, almost near Oregon, if you're up there, it's going to affect your livelihood. It's going to affect your ability to catch salmon and everything else related to that. If you're in Stockton, your air quality is going to suffer. If you enjoy whale watching, the whales are going to suffer. it impacts different regions of the state differently. So I would love to talk to you about how it will impact you. If you don't know the specifics of your region, I can talk with you about that. But whatever it is that has you passionate about this, that's what we want to see in that. So email me, and my email will be I'll put it in the chat again, but you have it and we can talk about this. Additionally, I would love it if you could phone bank to your local neighborhood. So I can create a phone bank for you and send you a link where you can talk to specific people in your town or your neighborhood and tell them about the tunnel situation and tell them to call and vote on December 8th. That's how we're going to win this with the people power. Just like an election, the more people you get to call and participate, the better our chances of winning this thing. So that's really what we would love to see there. Now, together in a moment, we are going to use the rest of our time tonight until about 8 o'clock or so to take action. So this link to this is going to be that link we talked about that will send emails to Metropolitan, and that's something we can all do together right now. We can all get on that website, send emails, and then if you have ideas for other things you want to add, share it to the group so that everyone can add that special point that you thought of. And then I'd love it if you could take the general manager survey. When you're done with your email, click here and say, hey, this is what I want to see in a general manager, someone who's committed to local, regional water sources. Then, if you're done with that and you have a Twitter account, you can tweet at these folks. We have the Metropolitan Water District itself, then General Manager Keitlinger, this is his Twitter account, and then the chairwoman of the board, Gloria Gray. So you can tweet at all of them and tell them about what it is you want to see in their future, how you want to see less reliance on imported water, you want to see the tunnel not happen, and you want to see more reliance on local, regional, recyclable water. So I am about to send everyone on here the social media kit and these slides, but you already have the links to all of these things right here in the slides, and the slides link are in your chat. So I'm about to exit here, and then I will take questions right now if anyone has questions, and then if you want to discuss the awesome things that you're going to be sharing in those emails, this is the perfect time for that. So any questions?
Hi, my name is Sydney.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi. I'm so sorry. I feel so stupid. I forgot to get on. I just now remembered at like 7:25, so I missed the first half, but I don't really know how I'm supposed to email at the same time I'm on the Zoom. I did take a screenshot. But it didn't really look like emails to me. But I just can't believe that I forgot and I got like 25 minutes late. Like I'm just so
Oh,
bad.
don't worry.
So
No,
sorry.
don't feel stupid. You're so way too hard on yourself. No. So when you are on a Zoom and you click away, we just see a dark screen with your name. So don't worry about it. You didn't go anywhere. We just see your name. And I just put again in the chat the link to the slides that has everything you need, but I'm about to email everyone the link to the slides and everything else. So you already have it right.
I just recently figured out how to do the chat, but I'm still getting the hang of it, and things can be hard for me to see. So
yeah, no, that's okay. I'm here to help you, and take your time. Yeah. Billy,
and
you have a
what's your
question?
name?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Well,
Billy, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What
Okay,
was
the
that, Billy?
question is, I don't do Facebook or tweets, so this might be a disadvantage, but I can do emails.
You can send an email. You can send an email, and then you can mark your calendar for December 7th and 8th, and then you'll get an email again from me when we get closer with the same link, so you can send your emails and comments at that point.
All right, thank you.
Fantastic. All right, so unless there's any other questions, I'm now about to send you all everything that we talked about tonight. So the link to the slides, the link to the emailer, we'll call it an email tracker, whatever you want to call it.
I just got an email from Katie Wagner. It says, act now to stop the Delta Tunnel. I don't know if it's a petition, but it says, tell the MWD's board to vote against funding the next phase of the Delta Tunnel. So I'd love to do
Fantastic.
that.
So that also, that's an auto email that we got lucky that it just went out right now. But
nice.
that is the email link that went out to about 100,000 people. But yeah, that's the big one. So that's the same link, but I'm also sending it to you in here in this email now. So you'll get everything you need.
Okay,
So-
how much did I miss in 25 minutes? Did I miss a lot?
Everything you need is in the slides right there that are in the chat box. And I'm also about to send them to you now so you can see everything you missed. But so you didn't
have
really,
my email?
I do. Are you Sydney Pitcher?
Yes.
I have your email.
Okay,
So,
cool.
so what you want us to do is go to our emails? Like,
Yep.
go,
Well, so you can go to your email. I am sending that to you now. But I also have the link to everything you need right here in the slides, which is in the chat. So you have all of those as well.
okay. I'll see you.
We need to brainstorm and promote water solutions that are sustainable and will not harm the environment, along with many different species, and will not spew tons of pollution, period.
Great.
I insist that we find a way that countless cities can do stormwater capture. Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm using the voiceovers.
Okay. Do you know that we can all hear you? I don't know if you wanted us to, but just be
Oh,
aware
it's
that
okay. Okay. I guess you're hearing my comment then.
no, and that's great. This is the time to share comments. If anyone has a good idea of other things to add to the comments, now is the time.
I've been trying to push rainwater harvesting. I mean, that's really important, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue with my comment.
Okay, great.
To help prevent polluted runoff and potentially avert flooding, period.
I was wondering if we don't win with the MWD, could you have a program on what the various steps are that follow up on that? Aren't there other approvals that would be required and other
Let's
agencies or
invest in
governmental
more
organizations that would
rainwater
have to
harvesting
approve of
because
this?
with climate change, comma.
All right,
there's
Sydney,
so much-
can you mute yourself for a second?
Okay,
Oh, and John Lango, you shared your screen. And
I
we're,
have a sequence of pictures. What do?
okay. Let me
There's a
see.
different sequence
add
going
that
up
for
to the
you.
left.
All right, there we go. We fixed that.
Okay.
Okay, someone was asking me a question and
I was asking.
there we go. Hi, Bob.
I was saying, if we don't win with the MWD, I would appreciate your having a program on what other approvals are required by what agencies, what steps are.
Sure. So Metropolitan is the last one to go. So if you were here when I showed you the other water districts, oh, and also everyone check your emails. You should have gotten the social media kit by now. But Bob, at all of the other water districts, they already had their vote, except for like the one or two I showed you coming up. So those folks already voted. Most of them already voted in favor of the tunnel. Metropolitan's kind of our last hurrah for now. And then after that, we will follow up with all these folks saying, you know, we're disappointed in anyone who voted that way. And we'll put a little more attention on Gavin Newsom. But right now, we're just trying to get everyone to focus their attention on Metropolitan because we only have 2-3 weeks to do this.
I see. So in other words, if Metropolitan approves this, There isn't any other thing. There isn't any state water board or any other organization here that has to approve this. It's done deal. It's Metropolitan Appeals.
Kind of,
That's what
kind of.
everyone's saying.
So, kind of, I mean, it goes in steps, right? So it'll be
Yeah,
this
the same
point and then
rights,
it'll
too.
move on to Department of Water Resources. So as we get to that point, we'll let you know, but right now, this is the step until December 8th. This is the big thing.
But that's
Um,
not what I'm asking. I'm asking that if we lose before them, could you put on a program of what comes next? There's got to be something more, I hope. I just can't believe that's
Right,
the end
I
of it.
can, we will, but I also don't want to distract people when we have this going on.
I
We
understand
just
that.
kind of want to get folks to focus on one thing at a time. And also, I mean, there's more time for that, right? Like this is a long game. This is, it's not like a short campaign. It's gonna take time to take this thing down if we lose on the 8th.
It isn't going to distract me a bit from what I would do with the Metropolitan Water District to know that there might be something more coming up in the future.
Right, right. But I think for the folks as a whole, if we remember, we send this out to thousands of people. We don't want to get thousands of people confused. So Bob, you and I can talk, but I think for the public as a whole, it's kind of one thing at a time
With all due
right now.
respect, there are only 40 odd people here, and I think they'd like to know what comes next if we lose with the Metropolitan Water District at some point.
If we were to lose, which I think at this point, we're still focusing on not losing. If we were, then we tell them, we're disappointed in that, and that at their next vote, we hope that they will then make the right decision. And then it kind of depends on what happens next. There's rumors of this becoming a piece of legislation next year, but no one has enough information on that. We still have to keep fighting it out with the DCDCA, that's the construction authority, and the Department of Water Resources. There's a stakeholder engagement community. So there are other ways to get engaged. But we kind of base this around when is there something that needs to take action and votes, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
All
Patty,
right. So hi, Mary Lou. Has everyone received their social media kits by now? If you haven't, check your email, the email you used to sign up for this event. You should have received the social media kit as well as the memes and infographic attachments. You can share those on your social media. You can send your email and add your personal comment.
Patty, can I interrupt to ask a question, please? This is
Go
Mary
ahead.
Lou again.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Mary Lou.
so the Monday, December 7th meeting, the
Mhm.
Bay Delta Committee, is that like an advisory group to the Board of Directors? So can we
Yes.
send the exact same email to one, or should we kind of rephrase it and make it different?
Yeah, you could do either or. So the Bay Delta Committee is board members. So they are board members, but it's a specific subset of them who are a little more interested in Bay Delta issues. So yeah, they will probably understand a little more detail and technicality than the board as a whole. So some of those folks don't really know a whole lot beyond what the staff tells them, but a lot of the Bay Delta committee members, they know a little more than the rest of them. So yeah, feel free to personalize a message to the committee members and give them a little extra detail if you have it. If you do think of yourself as a bit of an expert, that would be great.
Okay, thank you for the input.
Sure, thanks. And then if you happen to finish all of that, feel free to chat me in here what you would like to see as a topic for panels in the spring. I'm going to stop recording now.